The first threat arrived less than 24 hours after Malik and Sienna Thompson closed on the house. A white envelope taped to their brand-new black steel door. No name. No greeting. Just one sentence scratched in red marker: "You don't belong in Hampton Ridge." Malik stared at it without breathing. Sienna ripped it off, crumpled it, and said they should ignore it. But both of them knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a warning shot. And the neighborhood fired again fast. On day 2, someone spray-painted "Go back" on their mailbox. On day 3, their contractor quit mid-renovation after anonymous complaints were filed about them disturbing the peace. On day 4, they received a notice from the HOA claiming their approved renovation permit was suddenly under review. Sienna whispered, "It's like they're closing walls around us." But Malik didn't scare easily. He built an entire construction company from nothing but grit. He'd outworked discrimination before, but he had never seen it concentrated like this. The neighborhood was a fortress of old money and quiet hostility. Hampton Ridge looked beautiful from the outside, golf carts weaving through white picket streets, manicured lawns, holiday wreaths, morning joggers nodding politely, but underneath that curated politeness lived a fury that hated disruption. And Malik and Sienna, a wealthy black couple moving in with plans to renovate multiple parcels of abandoned land, were the disruption. When the HOA president, a man named Richard Cole with a permanent smirk, showed up uninvited, the hatred became official. He looked at their house the way people inspect stains. "We like things done a certain way here," Richard said calmly. "Your plans may not fit the aesthetic of our community." Sienna asked, "Our approved plans?" Richard gave a slow smile. "We'll see how long that approval holds." Soft cliffhanger. 2 days later, their backyard security cameras caught movement at 3 a.m. A figure in a hoodie cutting their fence. Another smashing landscaping lights. Another throwing rocks at the windows. The footage spread through local police circles, but nothing happened. "Probably teenagers," the officer said with a shrug. "Hard to identify anyone." "Sorry. Hard to identify, except one vandal wore a school sweatshirt from the private academy most Hampton Ridge families used." Hard to ignore. Malik's jaw tightened. He downloaded the footage, backed it up, sent it to himself twice. Still, he tried to play it calm for Sienna's sake. "It's just intimidation," he said. "They want us to leave." "And are we leaving?" she asked. "No." But the next hit was worse. One morning, they found tire tracks across their lawn, not random, but carved into a perfect circle, like someone wanted to leave a message. Someone wanted to say, "We can do whatever we want here." And then came the meeting. The HOA called an emergency vote to revoke their renovation permit. The room was full. Every face turned when Malik and Sienna walked in. Some fake smiles. Mostly cold stares. They spoke facts, logic, data. The room responded with lies, excuses, coded language. "This isn't about race," someone said, which always meant it absolutely was. "We just worry your upgrades will attract outsiders. We've worked hard to maintain a certain culture. This is a family neighborhood, not a business opportunity." Malik tried to keep his voice level, but Sienna could hear the tremor beneath it. She squeezed his hand. The vote passed. Their permit was revoked. Soft cliffhanger. Driving home through the gated entrance, Sienna finally broke. We bought legally. We pay taxes like everyone. Why do they feel entitled to destroy us?" Malik didn't answer immediately. Because he knew the real truth. Hampton Ridge didn't want diversity. They didn't want change. They didn't want successful black people buying up land. But Malik also knew something else, something the neighborhood had underestimated. He didn't just buy one property. He bought options. He bought access. He bought potential. And Hampton Ridge had no idea who they were really fighting. That night, Malik opened his laptop. Not to complain. Not to panic. To strategize. Because if the neighborhood wanted a war, they picked the wrong couple to attack. The next morning, Malik made 2 calls. One to his lawyer. One to his investor group. By noon, the war had shifted. Sienna watched her husband come alive with a different kind of fire, the strategic, cold, calculating version she rarely saw. His love for her was warm. His business instincts were steel. Within 48 hours, Malik had filed a discrimination report, contacted the city permit office directly, sent the vandalism footage to a state investigator, alerted 3 real estate investment partners about a new opportunity. But the HOA didn't sit quietly. Soft cliffhanger. They hit back with letters, fines, bogus citations about fence height, and non-approved shrubbery. They called inspectors on them. Someone even started a rumor that Malik ran shady businesses. And then came the betrayal. Their real estate agent, the same one who assured them Hampton Ridge would welcome them, refused to get involved. "I don't want to upset the community," she said sweetly. "Just try to get along." Sienna felt the sting deeper than she expected. She trusted that woman, paid her full commission. And still, racism outweighed loyalty. But betrayal also triggered clarity. "No more trying to be liked," Sienna said. "I'm done shrinking myself." Malik nodded. This was the turning point. They flipped their fear into fuel. Soft cliffhanger. Malik discovered something explosive. 3 abandoned lots behind their home were still zoned for residential use but had been sitting untouched for years, owned by an elderly couple ready to sell but ignored by the HOA because the lots were considered low value. Low value to them, but not to Malik. Not to investors. Not to a man who understood land development better than anyone in the neighborhood. By the end of the week, Malik had the lots under contract. The HOA panicked. They had assumed Malik and Sienna were isolated. Outsiders easy to push out. They were wrong. Suddenly, lawyers started calling the Thompsons to negotiate. Richard Cole attempted polite conversations. Neighbors offered forced smiles. But they were too late. Soft cliffhanger. Sienna found something even more shocking. A neighbor, an elderly white woman named Margaret, knocked on their door trembling. She apologized for the harassment. She said she'd lived there for 40 years and hated what the HOA was doing. Then she said something that changed everything. "If you two build something beautiful here, others will follow. This community needs change." For the first time, Sienna cried not from pain, but from hope. Margaret agreed to testify about the harassment if needed. That terrified the HOA, because when one person breaks silence, others follow. And people started talking. Whispers spread through Hampton Ridge that the Thompsons weren't victims. They were innovators, investors, developers. Whispers became curiosity. Curiosity became quiet admiration. But admiration didn't stop sabotage. A week later, someone slashed Malik's tires. 2 nights after that, unknown figures dumped trash all over their lawn. Then the worst, a dead animal left on their driveway. Sienna screamed when she saw it. Malik felt something inside him snap. This wasn't intimidation anymore. It was hatred escalating into danger. Soft cliffhanger. Instead of breaking him, it sharpened him. Malik called his investors again. "We're moving ahead. Full development. Full force." "What about the HOA?" an investor asked. Malik answered, "The best revenge is profit." And so the plan began. Phase 1. Secure the 3 abandoned lots. Phase 2. Rezone for mixed use. Phase 3. Build a multicultural commercial strip with restaurants, art spaces, co-working hubs, and boutique homes. Phase 4. Raise property values so high the HOA would choke on the irony. Sienna went through the design mock-ups. For the first time since moving in, she felt powerful again. The HOA wanted them gone. Instead, the Thompsons were about to reshape the entire neighborhood. The first city council meeting was where the war finally flipped. The room was packed, Hampton Ridge residents glaring at Malik and Sienna like intruders. But this time, Malik wasn't alone. 3 investors. A lawyer. A city official who owed Malik a favor. And Margaret, standing behind Sienna with steady eyes. When Malik presented the redevelopment plan, the room shifted. Not emotionally, financially. Projected value increase, 22 to 36%. Predicted business growth, $14 million over 10 years. Job creation, 120 plus. Tourism potential, moderate. Tax revenue, significant. Richard Cole stood up shaking. This will destroy our culture. Or raise your property value, one resident muttered. Soft cliffhanger. The tide turned visibly. Greed is universal. And no amount of racism could silence the lure of rising equity. Not everyone supported Malik. But enough did. The city approved Phase 1. The HOA lost the first battle. But they struck back with a lawsuit claiming Malik's purchase of the lots violated community cohesion bylaws. It was nonsense, but expensive nonsense. Sienna felt the pressure deep in her chest. The late nights, the fear, the constant whisper of what if they win? She felt her marriage strain under the stress, even though the love remained unshaken. Malik comforted her. We didn't come this far to fold. Soft cliffhanger. 2 weeks into the lawsuit, everything changed again. Viral exposure. A college student leaked the vandalism footage and HOA intimidation emails to social media. The story spread across TikTok, Instagram, and real estate forums. Black couple harassed for buying in all-white suburb, fights back with development project. Millions of views. Hampton Ridge became a national headline. Suddenly, the couple received messages of support from across the country. Investors called. Entrepreneurs emailed. Journalists requested interviews. Even the mayor's office reached out. The HOA scrambled like ants in sunlight. Their lawsuit collapsed under public pressure. Their president, Richard, resigned. 3 board members were removed. Malik and Sienna finally breathed. Soft cliffhanger. Construction began in spring. By summer, the transformation started to show: new cafes, an art gallery run by a Latina curator, a Caribbean fusion restaurant, a community garden, a co-working loft attracting young professionals of every background. People walked through Hampton Ridge with curiosity instead of fear. Children from different cultures played together. Homes appreciated by 18% in the first year of development. The same neighbors who once glared now waved politely, some even awkwardly apologizing. Sienna didn't forget their cruelty, but she didn't need revenge anymore. The success itself was revenge. And then came the moment that completed their journey. At the grand opening of the Multicultural Plaza, a hub now named Thompson Square, the elderly woman Margaret spoke into the microphone. You didn't just change our neighborhood. You changed our hearts. Sienna squeezed Malik's hand. We did it. He whispered. You kept me fighting. The applause rose like a wave, loud, diverse, triumphant. The couple who was told, you don't belong, now owned half the neighborhood. They didn't just win the real estate war. They rewrote the map. And that is the story of the real estate war, a story of racism met with resilience, hatred met with brilliance, and a black couple who refused to shrink when a community tried to erase them. If you felt every emotion in this journey, make sure you subscribe to Love Hate Story Chronicles, where we bring you gripping, modern stories of love, betrayal, injustice, and powerful comebacks every single week. Subscribe now, your next story starts soon.